Hello, welcome to Frank's School. I'm speaking English. I decided I had better explain what's going on here with Frank's School. This should be the fifth year, the 168th day, and the first video of Frank's School. But things are different. Maybe I better jump right down here to what's going to happen with the rest of the fifth year. I took a break in a sense. I'll explain. But in any case, 180 days is what I have aimed for each year because that's what a school year is in the United States. And when I started off, that was pretty clear what I was doing. I was teaching a year's worth in the first year, second year, and it goes on like that. Well, I've got about 10 days left in the fifth year. And what I want to do with those, I've been saving them, actually planning on them. I want to take a look back at what I've done in Frank's School, and maybe some other things too, like I'm using one of the days up right now to explain what's going on here. I want to look back to explain what have I done, and I'm partly doing it for my own sake because, when I set out, I didn't know exactly where it was going to go. It might be a little bit easier for me to look back. I often think of Ariadne's string. Ariadne's string that enabled Theseus to find his way out of the labyrinth. So in a sense, maybe I'll be able to roll the string back up and go back and figure out what have I been doing. So anyway, that's what I have planned for the rest of the fifth year. That and maybe a few other things. Five years. That should take 5 videos. We'll see. But then what I did was I suddenly jumped into the 6th year with the 6-year first day, first video. And that needs some explanation, I suppose. I started to use a different spelling system and teach about it. I call it Ruy'n. It's not a different language, it's English. And spoken, it would sound exactly the same as I sound right now because it's a system of writing. Basically, it's only a system of spelling because I keep the punctuation system and the capitalization system the same, paragraphing. I just spell differently. And in it, I explain, I think, as I recall, a little bit what I'm doing, and I teach how to do it. That I make clear, that if somebody decided they wanted to be able to read that, I put everything they need, although I think someone can actually automatically read it with a little bit of effort. What's going on is the way that would be spelled in Ruy'n, but it sounds the same, what's going on. If I'd said going, well, that would have been, it would have looked like that, going, what's going on. So anyway, that's going on, and I'm not going to stay in the 6th year. I'm not going to stay in Ruy'n. Why I did it all of a sudden was because of Facebook and Trump. I despised the man, Donald Trump, and I said various things to that effect on Facebook, and others were jumping on that because it's public. I didn't make it private. They were jumping on it and they were blowing off. And I thought, all right, well, if they're going to do that, at least I'll make them work. They're going to at least have to think about what I'm saying. I'll spell it my way instead of, if they're going to blow off in standard English writing, well, then they can go ahead. But I'll say my thoughts in my writing system. And I did that. So that was part of the reason, and that sort of stopped. What's even stranger, though, is what happened recently. This would normally be the 7th year. Well, I don't actually mean this as the 7th year. It's really the 7th beginning. And I just all of a sudden decided, instead of thinking about it, I should just do it. And with the 7th beginning, I started teaching or making my videos in Portuguese. And that was so scary for me because it still is, because my Portuguese is not that great. And I don't like making myself into a fool. I seem to do it pretty easily, but I don't like to do it, and I don't do it on purpose. But anyway, I started speaking in Portuguese. And you can see them. I mean, it's getting a little bit more comfortable now. I'm up to the third or fourth video in Portuguese, and you know, I thought, oh, what are the people, Brazilians and Portuguese people, what are they going to think if they see this? But then I thought, well, maybe at least it'll be funny. You know, they can think, isn't that funny to hear that poor bastard trying to speak our language? Why would I do that? Well, I'm doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it, and I think I'm going to stick at it, because I think there is a lesson for the world that Portugal is in the best position to teach the lesson to the world, but does not know it. You know, it's my idea. I think the lesson is there. And how would that lesson happen? It would happen by way of a movie called Resurrection in English, or Ressurreição in Portuguese. And I've talked about that movie elsewhere. I suspect that in the 6th year, I'll do quite a bit of talking about that movie in English, I think, because I think it's important. I don't need to go into it right now, but I mean, I'm talking about changing the universal paradigm, a different way of thinking, and I think the world needs it. Partly we need it, or maybe especially because of Trump and what's happening here. The opportunity, in a sense, is there to make the dramatic change in paradigm, which would make what Trump has done with his life and the way he is not laughable, but tragic, maybe. And oh well, in any case, the thing is, it's in Portuguese, and you know, for those who don't speak Portuguese, you're probably, it's maybe a mercy that you don't have to hear all the mistakes I'm making, but that's going on. So anyway, I felt that I needed to explain that. I will certainly, it is my intention certainly to finish out the 5th year and then to go on in English. I don't know exactly what I'll do in that 6th year. So now you have a better understanding of what I'm trying to do. Bye for now.